even if you take the case where religion is clearly useful in a life-saving, utterly benign way, in virtually all of those cases, I think I can get you there by some other way without the downside, or if not, that's just one of those cases where, yes, the fiction was more useful than any possible truth.
How do you distinguish a religious system from an a priori perceptual structure?
Well, if you can convert to it or away from it in a single conversation, I would say if it doesn't go very deep.
Well, I would say that for much of that, you're only converting at a very superficial level.
Well, no.
You're converting at the level of conscious apprehension, and most of your cognition is done through unconscious processing.
Well,
so it's superficial.
It's just a fact about us that most of people's religious attachment is born of having it drummed into them by their parents. Right? But the truth is...
no, their parents and their parents' parents and their parents'
yes,
parents'
exactly.
parents.
But if we did the same thing with Batman and Spider-Man, it would have the same effect. Right? Like if you relentlessly told children, right? I mean, I've got two little girls who are dressed up like Batgirl right now. They love Batgirl. There's nothing. I don't have to do anything to make them more enthusiastic about superheroes apart from just showing them the pictures of superheroes, right? If I told them, in addition to look how fun this is to dress up like Batgirl, in addition, you're going to burn in hell for eternity if you lose your emotional attachment to Batgirl, even for a minute, right? Well, then it's going to be Batgirl for the rest of their lives. Especially if the entire culture is doing likewise. And again, this is...
Well, as Brett pointed out already, a bad tool is better than no tool at all. And if Batgirl is the closest approximation to a divine figure that you can conjure up, it beats the hell out of none at all. And if Batgirl didn't partake of certain archetypal structures, no one would give a damn about Batgirl.
Okay, I'm going to...
Spider-Man and Batman
I'm going to spare
play a role in the culture.
All right.
Because, look,
Hold on.
not accidental. It's not accidental that superhero stories have a structure. And to say that, well, Batman and Spider-Man are obvious fictions and we could use them as moral exemplars, which we do.
You're taking the wrong end. You're taking the wrong end of this. I'm not minimizing the power of stories. Right? I'm saying we can understand their power without recourse to believing things we shouldn't believe now in the 21st century.
I still need an answer to the question about what it is that's this transcendental rational structure without an a priori dogma, because I don't see it.
Well, it's not. Well, again, we touched on this a little bit last night in that I freely admitted that in every domain of human inquiry, no matter how, the most hard-headed, so mathematics, logic, physics, at some point we have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. At some point we make a move that is not self-justifying and is not justified by any other move that's more rudimentary.
Right, that's a statement of faith. That thing
that's a callow use of the term faith.
No,
it's not the same kind of faith.
It's a precise definition of an axiomatic statement of faith.
My faith that 2 + 2 makes 4.
That's not faith.
Well, no, it is. No, it's my intuition that this is a valid and replicable and generalizable principle, right?
That's not faith either. Your statement that that's a useful claim is a statement of faith, but neither of those two were statements of faith.
No, they're statements of intuition. No, these are intuitions. They're intuitions that can run afoul of other discoveries and other intuitions, as you know, which...
well, if mathematical facts are intuitions, then what are we doing with facts?
We've arrived. Wait. We have to decide.
This is super important, though.
Super important.
Okay, we don't lose this.
Okay. Yeah.
For 2,000 years, people have been studying geometry and had a very well worked out set of mathematical intuitions with respect to Euclidean space, flat geometry. And then some brilliant guy, Riemann might have been the first, said, well, actually, you can curve space. I can bend this triangle, and all of a sudden it has more than 180 degrees, right? That's an intuition that people tuned up pretty quickly, but all of humanity was blind to it for the longest time, right? What I mean by intuition is, it's the thing you're using to understand something that you are not in a position to analyze.
I understand that.
But that's not faith of the sort which is, listen, I know the Bible was dictated by the creator of the universe. I know Jesus was his son. I know he rose from the dead. I know he'll be coming back, and 1,000 other propositional claims
if it's a statement
that
of
seem
faith
highly
and it's
implausible.
valuable, if it's a statement of faith and it's in the value domain, how is it derivable from fact?